Hi parents, it's Miss Bowers here. Thank you so much for joining us on the evening of our Winter Family Map Night. I'm so happy to have you all. I'm going to spend the next few minutes explaining what the rest of the evening will look like to make sure that you are set up for success at home to support your students continuing to grow and getting ready for the next school year. You should currently be in the location listed on your slip that's first. You'll spend about 20 minutes with myself and teachers going over some important information, and then you'll transition for your final and second session to the room number listed in parentheses on your slip with your child. What you should have in front of you is a green map tracker, which we will use as a guide to talk through and remind ourselves what map is and what these scores mean. So please take that out, or students give it to your parents if you still have it. And if you need translation, feel free, students, to whisper translate as I'm talking through the slides together here right now. So, as most of us know, the MAP test is a test that our students take 3 times a year at the beginning, middle, and end, and they take the MAP test in 4 different subject areas: math, reading, language usage, and science. And the MAP test is a national normed reference test, which means that students take this test around the country, and their scores give us an indication of how well they are performing, in comparison to other students who take the assessment who are on the same grade level around the same time of year. So it gives us a good indication of where your student lies, not just in comparison to students at KIPP Connect or in Texas, but all around the country. That's why it's really, really important for our students to continue to grow and reach those goals. So the first 2 columns that you want to pay close attention to on your green map tracker is the first column that says Fall 2017 and the second that says Winter 2017/18. These numbers are the scores that your child got in each of the 4 map tests, again, reading, math, language, and science. And what you're looking to see is that the score in the winter that they took last month is higher than where they started in the beginning of the year. If the score is not higher, then that is a symbol that your student needs some extra support or practice in that subject area, because the winter scores should be higher than where they started in the fall. What's also really important about the MAP test is a percentile. And a percentile is just a way of organizing students to see where they are in comparison to each other. So in essence, if we had 100 students that were lined up in order based on score, the student who is the first one is actually in last place, because that would mean that 99 other students scored better than them. On the other end of the spectrum, this student down here, who's student number 100, is actually in first place because they got the highest score. So if I was a student who on my math map test am in the 34th percentile, that means I got a score that was higher than these 33 other students, but I still have about 70 other students who got a better score than me, and I'm trying to work really hard to make sure I grow and reach my goals so that I'm in a higher percentile in the spring. What's important to remember is that percentiles are not grades. So if I'm in the 34th percentile for the math map test, that does not mean that I have a 34% in my math class. This is only talking about scores based on the map test, not grades in classes. So where you find your students' percentiles is back on your green tracker in the columns that have the percentage sign right here. So for example, if I'm looking at my math scores, in the fall, when I got a 236 on my math map test in the fall, I was in the 95th percentile, which means that there were only 5 students who scored better than me. But when I took my math map test in the winter a couple weeks ago, there were 6 students who scored better than me because I'm in the 94th percentile. So just like we want to see the scores go up throughout the year, we also want to see that your students' percentiles grow, because that means they're performing better in comparison to other students over time. The 2 most important percentiles that we look at are the 50th and 75th percentile. If your student has a 50th or a number that is 50 or higher in their percentile column, that means that for that subject they are currently on grade level. Our goal is to make sure that all of our students on their MAP test for math, reading, science, and language are at least in the 50th percentile. And we're pushing everyone to get at least there, but also in the 75th percentile, because that means that if they continue to grow at the same rate that they're growing now, they will be ready at the end of their senior year of high school to be prepared to be successful on college level work. So the two most important percentiles are 50th, which means your child is on grade level for that MAP subject, and then the 75th percentile, which means they're on track for college level work. Take a second to look at your tracker to see where your child is or is not on grade level or ready for college level work if they continue to grow at the same rate. These percentiles and scores are really important because we want to make sure that all of our students grow. The lower your percentile or score, the more growth that 5th and 6th grade teachers and myself are expecting your students to make throughout the course of the year. So if you look finally at the last column that's completed on your child's tracker, this is where you'll see their spring goals. It's really important that you're here tonight because we want to make sure our students know how invested we are and you are at home that they reach these goals. When they retake their MAP test in a few weeks, we're going to be looking that each student reaches all of these goals in each 4 of their MAP test subjects, which will show us that they are ready for the next grade level because they have reached their goals and grown the appropriate amount. Students who do not reach their spring MAP goals are at risk for being retained, which means having to repeat this grade level again. So please encourage your students to do their work, pay attention in class, participate, and take MAP seriously when it comes around so that they can show us all that they know and reach those MAP goals. When they reach their MAP goals, it's important that we celebrate them for all of their hard work. So you can see here, we have 4 different levels of prizes that students can receive for reaching those goals. If students reach their goals in 1 MAP test subject area, they get free dress passes. In 2, they'll get a crush party after school on a Friday. If they reach their MAP goals in 3 subjects, they'll get a special lunch from me. And if they reach their MAP goals in all 4 subjects, any student who is in that category will get to decide together as a group where they want to take a small group trip from. So please support your students and make sure that they know how important it is to keep pushing, keep growing, and doing their best so that they can be rewarded for all the great work and growth that we know they are capable of doing. That is all I have for you tonight, so I hope you are refreshed on what the MAP test is, why it's important, and how we use it here at KIPP Connect. Thank you so much for being here. I will be around in the hallways and checking in, so I hope to see you all. Please give me a hug when you see me. And we are selling pozole tonight on the 2nd floor hallway, so please support our fundraising efforts since all proceeds will go towards our incredible end of the year trips that we're currently planning for students at KIPP Connect. Thank you so much and have a good evening.